Hello, this is Bill Webb, aka Billy Indiana. Today I'm going to recap the gameplays from the month of April 2022. I'm going to talk to you about all the games that returned to the table at our household and some new games that we played. So if you're curious to see what hit the table, stay tuned. In April, we were able to play 45 gameplays of 22 different games, 14 of which were new to us. I'm going to recap them kind of from the lowest number of plays to the most number, and we'll start with the games that weren't new to us and end up with the games that were. So one of the games that was not new to me that I did play this month was Moonrakers by Ivy Games, and Moonrakers is a game I really enjoy. I recently posted a review video for this one, so I'll put a link up above if you want to check that one out. This is a really unique negotiation game where it's kind of a race. You're racing up this track to 10 points, but you're trying to accomplish these missions, but at the same time you often have to negotiate in order to do that, especially early in the game. So a very unique game, one that we really enjoyed. Only played this once this month because I just wanted to play it one more time before I finalized that review, but I played it a number of times. And there's an upcoming Kickstarter, I think sometime this summer. I've seen a few content reviewers that have had some of the information about this upcoming, I think, expansions and then maybe a big box. So keep your eye out for that. And as soon as I hear more detail, I'll be sharing that in my crowdfunding updates as well. So Moonrakers. Another one that was not new to us that got back to the table was Wingspan. Now, I guess it's kind of new and not new because we hadn't played the European expansion yet and recently picked this one up. So now we've played the European expansion. And again, just one time with Wingspan, but actually no, twice with Wingspan, and did enjoy learning the new birds. There's a few new features in the European expansion. So Wingspan is another one, not new to us. Many of you are probably familiar with that game. Next up on the list, another Stonemaier game. In addition to Wingspan, also played Viticulture. I think my copy of Viticulture World should be arriving today, so I'm very excited to try that out and put together a review for that one once we've had a chance to play it. But to kind of get back into the mindset and remember all the details of Viticulture. We pulled this back out and got it to the table a couple times here recently. Very excited to try Viticulture World and continue to enjoy Viticulture as well by Stonemaier Games. Next one up, a much older game. Well, maybe not older than all these, but for us, we haven't played Splendor in quite some time, and actually just played this one online a couple times this last month, but had some travel time this month as well, and so opened up the phone, got out the apps, and played a couple games of Splendor and enjoyed that again. It's a simple game. A lot of people love to hate on it, but I still enjoy it, especially on the phone app, pulling it out every once in a while and just getting a couple plays in. Nice game by Marc-Andre and Space Cowboys. All right, next one is one I continue to play, and that is Daimyo Senso by Warrior with a Pen. Now, this is one that was given to me as a review copy, and this is a retail version. I had a prototype for a while, and recently Nathan sent me a retail version, so I've only been able to play this solo, and I played it solo several times, but still every time I've tried to get it to my game group, something's fallen apart, we've had to cancel, and it just has never been able to get played. So still waiting to get a couple multiplayer experiences with this before I put my review together, but did enjoy the solo puzzle that this creates. It's an area control, area influence. It's kind of a war game-ish, but there's no luck involved. It's purely by your decisions that you're making with either a very prescribed action sequence, or you can use cards and then there's special actions. It's quite a clever design, so I'm really looking forward to trying this with multiple players and hopefully eventually getting a review done, hopefully soon, for Daimyo Senso by Warrior with a Pen. All right, next up, another one I played several times is Rolling Realms, and Rolling Realms is another Stonemaier game, so lots of Stonemaier games on the docket this last month. Played this one a few times, and again, just as I normally have been recently, just playing along with Jamie's videos, and I just, wait till there's a few in the queue, and then watch 3, play a game, watch 3, play a game, and record that. So enjoying this one, and played with the Terra Mystica expansion, and also the Rolling Realms expansion, and so enjoying those new realms as they come out. I guess there's probably some new ones coming soon as well, so looking forward to hearing more about those as those are released. And then two more that we played quite a bit. Gloomhaven, not this version actually. This is the Jaws of the Lion, my version, but with my game group playing the original Gloomhaven, and we played that 4 times in April. Didn't get together quite as many times in April as we had been. We usually play 2 scenarios each time we meet, but only were able to meet twice. So 4 times of Gloomhaven. And then the last one that was not new is Role Player Adventures. And my wife and I, this is a big one, so it's hard to get on the screen. My wife and I played this Role Player Adventures 5 times in the month of April and finally finished up through all 10 adventures and the side quests and the backstories. So it's the second one on our 10 by 10 campaign / legacy games we're trying to complete this year. And so 2 down. We got Adventures of Robin Hood done in January and February. Got Role Player Adventures done in March and April. We were hoping to get 10 done. We only got 2 in 4 months, so we're a little bit behind. But we're trying Destinies right now, and then we're going to do My Cities pretty soon. So looking forward to continuing on this strategy. We loved Role Player Adventures. I will say it got a little bit repetitive towards the end. The storyline is creative and new all the time, but what you're doing in the game after playing it, 10 times in 2 months, I think if you stretched it out a little bit, it might be a little more fun because it wouldn't feel so repetitive on the terms of the gameplay and what you're doing in the game. But the downside, if you spread it out, then you might forget some of the details of the story because there's an overarching story you're trying to follow too. So still really enjoyed it, still rank it quite highly. Yeah, I think I might put a more formal review of this out pretty soon now that we've gone through the whole campaign. So still liking it. And if they put out other adventures in the future, definitely would be wanting to jump back in down the road. All right, Role Player Adventures by Thunderworks Games. All right, so those are the 8 games that were not new to us that we played and kind of in ascending in terms of least played to most played. Now the new games. So one of the new games is one that I recently received. See if we can get a non-glare picture here. Tussie Mussie by Elizabeth Hargrave. This is a Button Shy Games, and it's just an 18-card game. To be honest, I really hope to enjoy this one, and my wife and I, neither one, really jived with this one. It was just okay. I think we'll probably pass this on to someone who might enjoy it more. It's pretty, it's clever, but I don't know, something about it just didn't really connect with us personally. So we played it a few times, but yeah, probably pass it on to someone who might enjoy it more. Next up, I don't own this one, but On Mars, an Eagle Griffin Games game, and just really enjoyed this Vital Lacerda game, On Mars. Yeah, I won't say too much about it right now, but it was one of the best games that I've played. Already looking to try to find a way to pick up my own copy of this one because, yeah, it stood out to me quite a bit. It's just the second Lacerda game I've played. I played Lisboa, now On Mars, but I'll mention Lisboa here in a little bit too. Actually, we can go right into it. Lisboa was another one that was new to me and played both of those Lacerda games in April. Lisboa I didn't connect with as much. It just seemed a little disconnected, incongruous, and trying, like, you do this for this reason. It didn't seem to make sense to me logically. It seemed to be almost complexity for complexity's sake, and it might just be one of those things where I would need to play it multiple times to see the connections, because again, I just played it one time, and for a complex game like that, I need to give it, more experiences before I make a final conclusion. But my first impression was I enjoyed it, but not one that I'd be just dying to get back to. Whereas On Mars, I found just the sequence of events and the way things fit together and the reason you would do this to make that work, it just made more sense to me. And so really did enjoy On Mars quite a bit. So 2 Vital Lacerda games this month, new to me in April. Next up on the list, another one that I don't own, and that is The Great Wall. Played that with my gaming group and did enjoy that one too. I would say I was slightly disappointed. It seemed a little bit confusing. Some of the iconography was confusing. Some of the wording in the rules were confusing. I did enjoy the gameplay, but it felt, again, like it was kind of a hump to get over. I'd like to try it again. I'd like to try the cooperative mode of The Great Wall. I did like the way The Great Wall, it had a sense of escalation, and I liked the tower defense. There were a lot of things I liked about the game, and I almost went and backed the reprint because I know they tried to clean up the rules and adjust a few things with iconography and wording on some of the cards, but it was a lot of money to put into a game that I'm not convinced I'll love. I did enjoy it, and I do want to play it again, but fortunately one of my friends has it and has also, I think, just recently ordered the Black Powder expansion, so we've already talked about getting back together and playing again and trying the cooperative mode, so I'm hoping to play more. I was, yeah, slightly disappointed, but still did really enjoy it. Next up, another new one to me, again, that I don't own, is Ankh, Gods of Egypt, a Kaman game or Simon game, and that Eric Lang trilogy, I think it is, with Blood Rage and Rising Sun. And I did enjoy this one. Actually experienced the merge. We had a 4-player game, and myself and another player ended up merging about 2/3 of the way through the game, and then we actually ended up winning. So it was a very unique experience to have that merge and it be successful. I know it's been kind of a unique thing for a lot of people saying they don't enjoy that, but we actually had a good experience with that. Next up, another one that I don't own, and that is the Siege of Runedar. I've been playing a lot of games with my friends in our game group, and this is a Reiner Knizia game, also kind of a tower defense, but cooperative in nature, and we got our butts kicked, but it was fun. Again, it was a little bit of a letdown. I generally really like Reiner Knizia games, and I generally like tower defense style games, and I really like cooperative games, so it seemed like it was going to be just win on all accounts, and it was okay. I enjoyed it. I would like to play again. I had initially thought it was one of my most anticipated games of the year. Really wanted to make sure I bought it. Now I'm like, you know, I can play it at the game store and the cafe, or if I can play my friend's copy, I think that may be enough. I don't know. We'll play a couple more times and then make a final decision if it's one I want to own or not. I did enjoy it, but again, a few games this last month that I was really highly anticipating that were good, but not great. I think my expectations were so high for some of them. All right, next up is Heaven and Ale. And this is one that is a game that my friend really enjoys, an Eggert Spiel game, and very Euro-tastic kind of game. You're trying to balance everything and min-max all your motions and moves and actions. And I really did enjoy this one. I didn't really know much or have much expectation going in. Again, it's not one I'd probably just like insta-buy, going to go out and find my own copy of it, but I would love to go back and play it again. I think there's enough there that I would do much better the second time, just trying to figure out how things connect. There was a lot of different things to connect in the game in terms of action decisions, so I would like to play that one again, Heaven and Ale. The next one is one that I do own. Finally played this one for the first time, and that is Orléans. And Orléans is a TMG DLP Games game, and this one, I really enjoyed this one. This actually was a game that I won in an Instagram contest and finally had a friend teach me with his copy, so I haven't even played my own copy yet, but it's one of his favorite games, and actually I think it could become one of my favorite games as well. I really enjoyed the bag building. I enjoyed the decision making in terms of the actions, almost like a worker placement kind of style, but I guess it is technically worker placement. You put them on your own boards, there's not really competition. I don't know, if it, maybe just more action selection. Yeah, it was interesting to see how everything fit together. Really did enjoy Orléans. Can't wait to try it again. I'd also like to try the cooperative version that I haven't. No, I don't know too much about it, but knowing how my wife loves cooperative games, I'd love to try that. And so, yeah, this is a game that I really enjoy and can't wait to play again, Orléans. All right, next one, a little tiny game that I recently received, and that is Ecosystem. This one is by Genius Games, and it's a clever little card game. Kind of reminds me of Cascadia. You're building out this ecosystem, and you're trying to get animals and terrain types in certain patterns to award yourself points. And my wife and I played this one a few times and enjoyed it. It's a very pretty art. Kind of simple. I don't know that we played a ton, but we enjoyed it, and one that I think you could bring out to play with other people. We've only played it 2 players, and I think you can play with at least 4 here, if I remember correctly. See if I see it here on the... Yeah, there we go. 2 to 6. So it might be interesting to play with a different player count and see what that's like. But we enjoyed our couple of plays of Ecosystem. Next up, played Komodo by Shill Mill Games, and played this one a few times. Put a review together for this one, and I'll have that linked up above here. Komodo, it looks kind of like a kid's game when you first look into it, and I think unless you have a little bit older elementary age kids, probably a little bit above their heads, especially if you use some of the variants, you can maybe simplify it a bit. Played with our granddaughter who was visiting recently, and just enjoyed the animals more than anything, a little bit over her head at 6, but my wife and I enjoyed the cooperative mode of this one more than the competitive mode, and it was a very challenging puzzle, and we came down to 1 tile within winning and couldn't quite get that tile placed. So Komodo by Shill Mill Games, an interesting one. Check out my review if you want to know more details. All right, next up, Castles of Burgundy. I do not own the Castles of Burgundy, but wanted to play it because with the upcoming Kickstarter and this deluxeified edition that's coming out, I want to know, is this a game I want to pursue? Because I'm sure it's going to be quite expensive, but I want to see if I like it or not. And this Steffenfeld game by Aliyah and Ravensburger did not disappoint. I really did enjoy it. Can't wait to play it again. I actually now have played it online as well, have it on Steam, and so was able to do that a couple times after playing the actual board game, and really enjoying the Castles of Burgundy. I do want to strongly consider, we'll see what the price is, but I do want to strongly consider that upcoming GameFound crowdfunding edition, the deluxeified edition that's coming soon. Next up, one that I do own, and that is Gugong. I played this one for the first time. Gugong is by Game Brewer, and it's a game that I played solo, and I played with my friends. I played solo kind of to learn the rules and make sure I understood it, and then took it to game group and taught my friends, and we played a 3-player game. And this is another one that I really, really enjoyed. It's clever how you are playing your cards and you're generally trying to play a better card than the card that's out there, but you can get around that if you need to, and you're competing for spots, so it's kind of worker placement-ish, and that if you don't go soon enough, then your card might not get you the reward you want, so you're sort of competing for those spots on the board. Really some clever and interesting mechanisms for this one, so really I'd like to try the expansion sometime. I want to teach my wife. I haven't had a chance to play this one with her yet, but Gugong was a really terrific game. Very much enjoyed my couple of plays of that. Another one that I do own in a recent arrival, and that is Planet Unknown. This is the deluxe edition through Kickstarter. This is a polyomino tile laying game. Played it solo, played it with my wife, played it with my game group, and everyone that's played this has really enjoyed it. It's pretty simple to get into, but there is just a ton of variety in this one. There's event cards, there's personal objective, there's competitive objectives, there's all these different ways to mix and match your game boards and your planets, because there's different corporations on the game boards for the players, and there's different sort of play rules for the different planets that exist as well. So it just seems like almost an endless amount of player variability for this one. We're just sort of scratching the surface. We've only played the base level so far, and looking forward to trying some of the other variants and mixing and matching the different types of play for Planet Unknown. Really enjoyed this one as well, and that was one that we played several times. But the new game that we played the most this month actually was Conspiracy Abyss Universe. This is a little card game based on the board game Abyss, and this is by Bombix Games. It's a Bruno Cathala game, yeah, and Charles Chevalier, Pascal Quidalt. I'm not saying those names quite right, but this one, I've played Abyss once on BGA with a friend of mine, Daniel from Punch Board Party, and he taught me how to play Abyss, and then I won this in a contest actually on YouTube. And so I've just played this a few times online, played it with my wife, and really enjoyed this one. It's a clever little game. It plays really quick. It's very reminiscent of the game Abyss, but simpler. There's some different strategies you can try. We played this one 5 times. This is the most played new game of the month, and really enjoyed it. So those are the games we played in April 2022, some that were new, some that weren't. And so now a quick recap of the games that we played. What were my favorite? What was the game that I got back to the table that I was just like, oh wow, I forgot how much I love this game. It was just great getting it back to the table. And then of the new ones, what was my favorite? So getting them back to the table, one of the ones that just surprised me again was Viticulture. So I've set it down here, but I hadn't played this one in quite some time, and getting excited about Viticulture World showing up, I was happy to get this one back to the table, and playing it again, I was just like, wow, I really do enjoy this game. And I still haven't even played with the Tuscany expansion. Just the base game alone, I really do enjoy. And so I picked up the Tuscany expansion, so I'm ready to incorporate that as well now. And then I'll be receiving the World one as a review copy here soon. So excited to get more Viticulture here played in May, both with the stuff that's been around for a while and the new World version that's coming out. So that was my favorite back to the table game. And then my favorite new game. This one's tough because there are 2 that really, really stood out to me. On Mars is right there. I really enjoyed On Mars, and I would like to pick up my own copy someday. Planet Unknown was also really good, but I would say my favorite new game is Gugong. It was just so clever and so unique. The idea of giving gifts that are better than the gift you're receiving, sort of getting rid of bribing but still bribing, was the theme of this one, and I really enjoyed it. It was so unique. So Gugong was my favorite new game of the month, but with some others right there on its heels, with On Mars and Planet Unknown also being terrific. So hopefully you enjoyed this video, hearing something about the games that we played in April, a little quick review of each one so you get a flavor of what it's like if you haven't played it, and get my reflections on whether I enjoyed it or not. If you did enjoy this video, I'd love it if you give it a thumbs up, and it'd be terrific if you'd choose to subscribe to the channel as well. And if you have any questions about any of these games, leave those down in the comments, or if any of these games stand out to you as some of your favorites, tell me what you love about these games in the comments below as well. As always, thanks for watching. This is Billy, Indiana, signing off.